Welcome to the creative side of things,
where we empower and inspire business owners and entrepreneurs to tap into their inner creative,
from standing out in saturated markets
to debunking and challenging the status quo.
We'll learn firsthand from actual small business owners how they've applied creativity, imagination, and common sense to grow their businesses. I'm Javier, Chief Creator and founder of High Ground Creative.
And I'm Megan, founder and CEO of Cheek & Co Clothing.
I'm Gen X and her dad.
I'm Gen Z and his favorite daughter.
Oh, that's debatable.
Well, it's not up for debate. Together we are creative thinkers,
design experts,
branding gurus,
imagination igniters,
and coffee addicts. Keep listening and we'll prove it to you.
Hey, you might learn something.
Imagine that.
Ready?
Let's get creative. Don't use this part. You want to start it so bad. Welcome to the Creative Side of Things podcast. I'm Megan with my co-host,
Javier Santana.
Javier.
I am her father, and she is...
Favorite daughter.
You're my favorite daughter. You know something? You're.
No,
I heard your youngest sister. I said that she saw it, and she's like, "I'm your favorite daughter."
She texted me that. Yeah.
So, are you our favorite daughter? We have my other daughters here, Bella. Today, you're my favorite, not her. Okay. All right.
Well, this episode's gonna go great then.
Honey, you're always.
We're all your favorite.
All of you are my favorite.
I'm gonna have favorites when I have a kid.
But
I just know I'm gonna pick a favorite.
The thing is, I just don't tell you.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it changes.
It changes. It depends on the hour. For those of you who don't know, I do have 3 daughters. This is one of them. And I'm still upright.
So what are we talking about today?
So this is going to be a shocker to everybody because we're going.
You'll never guess.
You will never guess what we're talking about. Our topic for today, we can't go too many episodes without talking about this. And the official name of our topic is creativity mindset.
Ooh.
Which button?
Do the yellow button.
Yellow. Creativity mindset. So, there's a lot of places we could go here. We touched on some of the stuff on our first episode when we introduced each other, and we talked a little bit about creativity.
And every guest we've had, we asked them, ways they've been creative in certain situations. So I feel like we're always addressing this.
Absolutely.
I feel like an episode is necessary as well.
No, I think so. And I think that we'll have some of these as we move forward. And the thing is, we want to reemphasize the fact that everyone's creative. And that's a big deal. That's part of the creativity mindset. If you don't think you're creative, then you don't have a creativity mindset. But that doesn't mean you're not creative. So we want to
haven't tapped into it.
Exactly.
So
and we're going to show you how to do that.
About, yeah.
Exactly. So everyone's creative. They're just creative in different ways. We just have to find ways to do that. But we're going to talk about a free conversation, just about what we think about this. What does that mean? What does a creativity mindset mean to us, and just some practical things we can do and you can do to exercise that and nurture that mindset, because then it becomes instinctive. Then it becomes something that's part of who you are rather than you really thinking about it. And when you practice it, it does become a habit.
The first thing that stands out to me for you and I are notebooks. We have so many, and thank you for that terrible trait. I have so many notebooks. You're quiet because you know it's true. But he has so many pieces of paper,
right? And
they all say different things. But if I asked you to find something, you would know exactly where it is.
I would. I think the lesson here, and we're gonna dive in, is if it stays in here, there's a psychology behind it that it creates stress. But you have to have a capturing device for the idea that comes to your mind in thoughts, and you have to put them down. Some people might want to go to their iPhone and go to the notes section or something, but get it from here and put it down. We use paper.
I think we've mentioned that in a lot of episodes. Mm-hmm. Write down everything. Write
down. It's important because then you can go back to it and refer to it and reference it, and then because it'll help you. Because if you say I'm going to remember it later, you don't.
No, never.
You don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to finish that statement. You talked about paper.
Yeah.
I stand behind this. Leaders are readers, and leaders are note takers. Do not
working on the reading part.
Yes.
I'm really bad about, I've actually gotten into audiobooks more because you got to figure out what works for your brain. And it's just really hard for me to sit and read because I just want to do other things. So I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm like doing the dishes or whatever. And I'm still getting that like information.
Right. No, and that's important. So it's information, we always need to keep learning. This is a way for you to foster your creativity, is be a seeker, always be wanting to learn more, be curious. That's a way to you nurture your creativity, and that's a creativity mindset. Creative people, or people that practice a creativity mindset, are curious. It doesn't mean you question something for the sake of it, but you question it to find other ways and find alternative viewpoints and alternative things.
Yeah, when you see someone online doing something different, you're like, well, how'd they think of that? Because they were curious, they tried new things. If you keep doing the same old, you're not going to find those new ways of being creative and like stand out. You're just going to fall into the everyday thing that everyone is doing. But going into doing all these things, it can go the opposite way, because we found this quote from Austin, I want to say Cleon, creative people need time to just sit around and do nothing. And that, it goes the opposite way, but it's true as well. Like sometimes when you take that break or like do nothing, then all the ideas start flowing.
Oh, for sure. And we had an episode before this, I don't know how many episodes before when this comes out, but it was about hustle culture. If have a hustle culture type of mindset this is a negative, like you're always on the run, that stifles creativity. Yeah. It's hard to be creative when you're rushed.
If you're too busy.
And you're just on the hustle. You're too busy. You have to be able to slow down to do that.
Yeah. So do you get this way after a vacation or even during? You almost want to work more than you did before the vacation because you had time to breathe. I remember when we went to Puerto Rico, I'm glad I brought a notebook because I started thinking about all these things to do for the business when I got back, because I had time to be creative and just relax. Right. So it's really important to like make time to do nothing.
No, and there's a science behind this too. Almost every episode we keep bringing her up, but Melissa Hergert, who is a friend of ours, but she also owns Brain Train Centers. She was a guest here. The theta waves, THETA, when you're in a place of calmness and like, for example, in the shower or you're driving or you're in a place like a resort, kind of relaxing, the theta waves, which kind of tap into your creative, open your mind into the subconscious, kind of get heightened, and then those ideas start coming. But you have to put yourself in that environment.
So you're welcome. We just gave you a valid reason to take a vacation. It'll better your business.
It will better your business.
So go do nothing. Instead of go get creative, I'm just going to say go do nothing.
So changing your environment is a big deal. That's a part of that. So you going on vacation, that's great. Or even taking a 1-day sabbatical. You don't have to have a 6-month sabbatical. You can be able to decompress and go out and separate from the muck and busyness of everyday life and unplug, so then you're able to tap into those areas. Or
instead of doing your emails in your home office, go to a local coffee shop. I get so much done. It's almost like I'm being held accountable without. It's just being around other people who are also being creative in the coffee shop, like on their laptops and reading. It like makes me more productive.
Yeah, people that know me, and obviously you, I go to Starbucks a lot, or if there was another different type of coffee shop, I'd go here. But and I take my laptop and get some work done. Doesn't mean I don't get it done here. It's just my mind shifts to a different place and allows me to kind of enter into that creative mode. And I do a lot of that conceptualization outside of my office, because I'm in my office, I'm writing proposals, I'm doing follow-ups, I'm helping my team, and it's hard, and I can't. That doesn't foster creativity. And
we have made time in our schedules for creative days where we're batching content. Like you and I, we're like, okay, phones aside, 2 hours, go. Like, think of all the things we can do, content and all that. So it's okay to schedule in creativity. Like you can literally put it in your calendar.
And that's okay. It doesn't have to be spontaneous. You can.
I feel there's where I'm spontaneous, you're scheduled.
Yes.
And we found that with creating this podcast.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like you've taught me, no, here's what we're posting, but then I'm like, okay, but I might think of something like in the moment.
Right.
And that's fine. Like I'll do that.
And we had a great conversation about it because we met each other in the middle. I had a sequence of posts and information that we wanted to put out there, but you had enough information that you could freely kind of instinctively put things in between. So we're working together, and we're getting to know each other in a different way, working together like this, because when we talk about Gen Z, millennial, or Gen X, yes, this is very real. The generation differences, our gender differences, our age difference, father, daughter, there's a lot of dynamics here. So we're forced ourselves to be with each other more. And so we're working and collaborating together and finding different habits that we have, good or bad, and adjusting and making ourselves. So we're being creative and working with each other.
Do you feel that you work better under pressure when things are like organized and scheduled out?
What's interesting is I work better under pressure.
Yet you are a scheduler.
Which is kind of interesting. I don't know why that I should, since I schedule, it should be the other way around. But I find myself that when the heat's on, you always, most often than not, come through. If I have a little extra time and sometimes I create urgency for myself.
It's like you have the time, but you wait till the last minute still. I do that.
And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just telling you this is the way I am.
I work better under pressure. I seek, organization, but it always ends up being. No,
and we have our habits. We are, you and I are, and unfortunately to your mom's stress, we're messy artists.
Yeah.
We leave a trail behind. My wife Lisa says, I always know where Javi is. I just follow the trail.
Of paper?
Right. Or clothes or shoes. But you, Megan's similar to me, like in that sense. You're very close. We're very much alike in that.
When the best creativity comes out of, if my office, so if you don't know, I have a pole building. It's like my hippie she shed. And when it's so wrecked and messy, I got some good content because everything's all over the place. If it's clean, you're like, ooh, she hasn't made anything in a while. So messy means I got some stuff done.
No, I'm going to share something with you guys, and you've seen this, but I'm going to call it out. In our studio here, it's not too big or too small, but we have a coffee table, and you'll see this when we have our guests. We have a coffee segment, and after we have especially a guest, this place is wrecked.
Yeah.
And so my other daughter Bella, who works here at High Ground, she is very creative, but in different ways, but very type A, very, very organized, very structured. That girl cleans this
so well,
like straigens it out, rinses all the cups of coffee, and that helps her. And she wants to do that because that's her gifting. That's what she wants to do. She serves. But it's interesting because now she's almost enabled this or like spoiled us because we know we don't need to clean up ourselves. Just leave a mess. Bella will clean it up.
But with tapping into your creative mind, let's talk to those who are listening who don't feel creative at all. So it can be overwhelming. It's like, where do I start? Well, we talked about this in the first episode of, you need to narrow down what makes you feel creative or like, what are your hobbies? Because those will always lead you to that creativity. And we were talking about how people always think naturally, they'll think, oh, painting. But you don't have to be that type of artist to be a creative person. It can be in so many different ways.
Correct. Totally. So if you're feeling uninspired or drained, that's not who you are. That's a state where you are at. So there's ways to get out of that, and we're going to talk about a few of those things.
Yes.
So, but you don't have to be creative. That doesn't mean if you can't draw or paint, that doesn't mean you're not creative. You're creative in other places, and that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, and we've already hit 3 of them. Notebooks, writing down your ideas. We talked about doing nothing.
Yep.
Very important, which is surprising. Like it was a good reminder when I was, seeing the doing nothing. And what's another one that you think is like a really big?
To kind of stimulate creativity and to kind of nurture that and grow that, it's a very, very purposeful thing you need to do. So I think playing is a big one. Allow yourself time for recreation. Because then you can mentally separate from the things that are pressing on you, and when you do that, it actually allows your subconscious to do some work in your brain while you're doing something else, and trust that. And that seems kind of flaky, but it isn't. There's science behind this. There's times, and I do this all the time, where I'll ask myself a question, my self-conscious, and not expect an answer right away, and walk away, but be ready to
revisit it.
Be ready to write it down when it comes, because your subconscious works while you're not.
Yeah.
And so if somebody's looking at this like, oh, that guy's a flake. I know a lot of people think that, but try it. It's a very important thing.
And here's a big one that a lot of people need to hear is allow yourself to make mistakes. because creativity can come from that.
Oh, without a doubt. Yes, without a doubt.
We gotta post that on Instagram. Make mistakes. Like, I feel that needed to be said. A lot of people might resonate with them.
Yeah, we'll put this will be a clip. That will be.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think that's the idea, because if you're so guarded and you're trying to make things perfect, you're technically stopping the creative process.
Yeah.
The creative process is messy.
I mean, think of oh my gosh, I hope I say the right person. Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison.
Yes, of how many times he had to try.
Oh, the light bulb.
Yes.
Yeah, so many times.
Mistake.
So, and the thing is, the key when you're creating something or getting to something, or those mistakes are building blocks. So the key is learn from the mistake and do not repeat it. That's a different situation if you do that. But yes, be open to make mistakes.
And how do you know what the wrong ways are if you don't go through that?
Right.
We were talking about that today in our Master Networks group about, like, it's important to have those struggles, because how would you know any better if you didn't go through that? It also just builds your character too. But
so you can't insulate yourself so much that you're not growing. And I'm not saying we encourage people to fall down and make mistakes, but you have to understand this is life. Life is like this. It's not perfect. And when and that's part of the creativity mindset. This is what this episode is about. What is our thought process that helps us become creative people? All of us have that in us. It's just we have to exercise that. And so making mistakes, being at least open to that, and trying things.
And as business owners, whether you are one listening or you want to, I know a huge scary thing is social media, but oh my gosh, I have so much fun creating through social media. It is a really fun outlet to just like create. And you're getting to like know that with reels and stuff, like you're kind of flowing into that and seeing how fun it can be.
For sure.
To, not take yourself too seriously and like lip sync to a song or like dance or something, and people love it.
I love it. And
it's so much fun.
And there's a moment everybody has like, oh, I don't want people to be judging.
Yeah, like what if first off, people aren't judging as much as you think. People are we care about ourselves, right? Like,
they're not paying attention to us.
Hear yourself. You're so worried about what other people think. That proves my point that you're worried about yourself. So everyone else is. So I highly doubt anyone gives a crap. And if they do, haters hate, it gets you more followers, more traffic anyway.
And that probably says you're doing something right if somebody's actually. So let's jump to another one. We talked about going to places and trips, but
notes, changing your environment, doing nothing.
Right? How about this? We talked about community before.
Yes.
We talked about mentors. So how does a mentor in somebody's life help you?
Well, they give you, it's good. Okay, I'm really glad you said that, because it's good to step out of your own box. But there is no box, Michael Faber said. So there's no box.
She listened.
But today I got to talk to one of my, someone I look up to. She's a coach for me, and she also had a boutique. So even though we both did something similar, she has ideas that I would have never thought of. So it's always good to rely on someone you look up to, or someone at your level, or a friend, because always take that feedback, because they're going to come up with something that you would have never thought. Or, when you you would write our quote and it took me reading it to be like, hey, we messed this up, because you just need a second set of eyes.
We have blind spots.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to say something that maybe somebody will disagree, but I strongly believe this, and challenge me if you disagree. You cannot be creative in a silo. You cannot be creative alone.
Yes.
You need, that's the whole, you feed off of each other's energy and positivity, and people model creativity. So if I get inspiration and motivation from other creative people.
Yeah,
and
seeing other people be creative is so inspiring too.
Right.
So surrounding yourself by not creative people who are there to help, we talked about community over competition. It's just gonna fuel your creativity.
But Megan, this is why we created this podcast. One of the big reasons in our mission is to inspire and empower business owners and entrepreneurs to tap into their inner creative. We're inspiring how? We're bringing people here that have gone through things they haven't, or they can model, and they give us stories about how they were creative.
And we're learning from our guests.
We're totally learning from them.
Things I would have never thought of. how I shouldn't have coffee every single hour of the day.
Because we're in this with you.
Yeah.
We're here kind of hosting.
We're learning with
but
you.
we're totally learning with you. We're so
Yeah.
excited. Every time we have a guest, we're going to be learning and taking something from that, and that's
Yeah.
how we want to build on that. So so mentors are important. Find one, but actually, you need to find the right ones. There's people that know more than us. There's always somebody that knows more than you. Be humble enough to surround yourself around a community, around people that will pour into you.
And even ask your own customers and consumers. I'll always, I have a private Facebook group, and I'll ask them like, if there's anything they want to see from me, or, I don't always know what's best. So I'll think I like a shoe, a shoe's going to do really well. And then I'll give them the options, and none of them pick the shoe I thought was going to sell. So I have to like humble myself. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I asked you guys because you're the ones buying it. So,
well, we have this situation with us at my company where a lot of times when we design something for our clients,
it's always the logo.
Our least favorite is the one they pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matches the shoe thing.
I hear that from every graphic designer I've ever talked to. It's always the one that you want them to pick, they don't pick.
So I have a really wild one here. Here's a suggestion if you need to help and grow in your creativity. Listen to this podcast.
Yes.
Not just this episode, every episode. Okay, see you guys.
Like, that's it. That's the season. But sometimes I'll come into the studio to record with you, and I'm like a little nervous, or I don't feel like inspired. But as soon as we start talking, that's proof right there. Like, you're another person I'm bouncing off of, and your energy transfers to me, and then I leave like super inspired and like ready to go create. So
I love that.
Talking about all these things about like making time to create, I want to go get some watercolors today and just paint, because that's my version. I know I used it as an example of it doesn't have to be that, but for me, I really like painting.
So there's another quote I have here that actually aligns with what you were saying earlier. The mere presence of other people can boost your creative performance. That's a quote from a person called Floyd Allport.
Say it one more time.
The mere presence of other people can boost your creative performance.
I love that. That's really important.
If I'm next to you, like we were in our Master Networks group this morning, there was a lot of very positive business owners, entrepreneurs in there with their own energy, they bring their own thing, but just literally being in that room with them, even if there's not even a word said, it helps.
It does. It really does. And it can be entrepreneurship can be extremely lonely.
It is that's so big. The thing is,
because you are all on your own.
It can be lonely, but you don't have to be alone.
No, exactly. No, that is, especially for me, I don't have a staff. So I thrive with just collaborations or my friends working with them, because I don't have like employees to hang out with. So it's literally me. And then my fiance goes to work during the day. So it's just me and my cat. And she doesn't even want to hang out with me.
We see it all in your stories.
And, yeah, I know. I do share her a lot. Sabrina is amazing. But
she hates me.
Because of my job, like I really don't have that human interaction all the time. Like sometimes I'm just filming myself like for a few hours, and then I'm like, wow, I didn't talk to another person today. So it's important for me to like schedule that time with my creative friends and business owners that I look up to get that,
you sharpen each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And get around people that have strengths with your weaknesses are.
Yes.
Because then you get better in that. I'm going to say another one here. Another one I'm going to throw in. And it's borrow ideas.
Not copy.
Not copy, not stealing ideas. Borrow them.
Yes.
That's called inspiration. People use Pinterest, for example, for inspiration, visually seeing things. And it's such a really cool place to do that. And you can get lost in there. I'd rather get lost in Pinterest than on the news feed.
Oh, yeah. It can be a negative space.
Totally.
Pinterest is such a positive, cool space. What people were saying about Pinterest is the reason it's still so popular is because it's nostalgic. Yep. That platform is the same as when I started it, in high school. I started using it. It has not changed.
Yeah, and it's good. There's not all this crazy people yelling at each other and stuff like that. And look, we don't hate vibes. Social media. We're in that. You can do good with tools, or you can do something bad with it. So we're trying to do good with these things, but there's a lot of bad in there. But Pinterest,
no bad.
No, it's all really.
So
good.
when we were creating the podcast, we created a private board, and we would add things in there, and that's how we could because we're visuals. So trying to create a brand together, we needed to see ideas. So Pinterest was a great way to do that.
It was really good. Maybe we should soon at some point do one for the show and put stuff up
Oh
there.
yeah, definitely.
Inspiration and
that's Megan will handle that.
Okay,
I
Megan's
love
gonna
Pinterest.
handle.
If anyone has Pinterest questions, please contact me.
So you want to be able to create a mechanism to always inspire and motivate. So reading, listening to music, being around other people.
Music does wonders.
You know, and understand that this is something that you need to feed. If you don't feed it, it's going to die off. I'm not going to use that word that I used in the first episode, atrophy. I'm going to use another word. It's going to die off.
Die off.
Okay. So I'm sorry because Megan totally short-circuited when I said
I was like, what? I was like, what is
atrophy,
that?
you know, when something atrophies. But so please, you need to nurture. You need to take care of it like a plant.
I like that. You need to nurture your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
So inspiration, be like if you want to do a vision board, which is we highly recommend.
And Steve Jobs says creativity is just connecting things, and like dissect that one. Mm-hmm. That is.
Say that again. I want you to repeat it.
Creativity is just connecting things.
Connecting things. I love it. That's huge because you can how you connect them. That's up to you.
Yeah.
And put them together. Be creative that way. Here's another one. The job is to collect good ideas. Your job is to collect good ideas. The more good ideas you collect, the more you can choose from and be influenced by.
Wow.
And I'll say, and you can influence others.
Yeah.
So it starts with an idea, and that's a spark. But then you have to use your creativity and imagination to nurture that idea, right? And feel that, and then you have to execute and act.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired.
I am very inspired and excited.
We love a good quote on this podcast. I just love it. I love quotes, and that's why I like Pinterest.
We talked. There's a quote here because we talked about sleep before, and I think in the last episode.
Yeah, in the hustle episode.
So if you don't, if you're not sleeping, you're not healing
or dreaming,
and that's it. So Salvador Dali, who was a painter, he said, all my best ideas came through my dreams. So this person obviously is very creative and an artist. But again, we told you don't have to paint to be able to create it. Yeah. But he understood how to tap into those parts of your brain that allow you those ideas to come out.
Yeah.
And so so if you sleep more and you get more sleep, that's going to help you.
The brain is capable of amazing things. You need to trust your intuition. You need to follow that gut feeling, that heart, and you're going to find those creative things easy.
Gosh, yes, that was really good.
End episode.
We're almost there. But
oh my gosh.
There's I wrote this down. We have it in our notes. Embracing constraints. So we can get into fatigue, being creative if we're too much in that space. So there's a balance there. You have to understand that, like if you're in theta wave, like I learned from Melissa, too much, then it starts draining you. So you have to understand and be listening to your body and that. But you have to. There's too many choices out there, and with so many things to do. So you have to embrace that.
I was telling you the other
day,
there's too much free education that people don't. They just join all these Facebook groups. They do all these things, and then they're actually not learning anything because they took on too much and they can't even pick one. So
they're
really
diluting
follow
themselves.
that. Like, what do you need? Mm-hmm. Don't give too much.
And say no. We just said this in the last one.
No.
Say no.
Yeah.
Back away.
Really find what serves you.
And that's something I'm doing this year, Megan, because you and I talked about this, and part of a lot of things, putting my hands in so many things. I have to stay focused on the goals we set, and clear. And be able to kind of throttle down and have some more balance.
And
so
your word of
yourself.
the year is discipline.
That's my word of the year. What's your word of the year?
Do you remember mine? Oh my God. It goes with our first episode. It's in that title. Community. We talked about it. Yeah, that's my word of the year. And I thought it was perfect because of the podcast, because we're building a community, a new one.
We are building a community.
And merging two communities from you and from me.
We're going to bring these
We're
worlds.
all a family, guys.
I know.
Hakuna Matata. If you're only listening to the podcast, they're like, why'd she just say that? But my dad, he's wearing a Hakuna Matata Lion King shirt.
Simba.
He tries to keep an eye out. We're going to, I feel like at the end of the season, we should do a screen grab of all your shirts. But he's trying to do a fun shirt every episode.
A fun shirt every single time. Because you're wearing all your Chica stuff and your things. You're glamorizing it. So I have to do the other. We have Huck Finn here and we have Cinderella.
I wish that my headphones didn't cover my earrings. I'm a big earring person.
Yes, you are.
So
I'm not.
No, please don't wear earrings.
New connections will be formed when the clutter of choices is eliminated. There's a quote.
Oh, there you go. That goes exactly with what we were just talking about. Too many things is a bad thing.
Limit things. Have the discipline to limit your choices.
You can always come back to things. Just, focus. A lot of people who are, what is it called? Serial entrepreneurs? Can accidentally get into that where you just want to try everything. You get really excited and you want to monetize everything. You want to monetize your hobbies, and it just becomes too much, and then nothing gets fed. You need to give 100%, not 50%, not 99%, 100%.
100%. Are you learning anything here?
Maybe.
Okay. All right, because hopefully people are listening here. We're pretty much at that point here where
this is a really good topic.
So I think that we're a good stopping point. We could sit here another 2 hours, but I'm going to stop at something you said earlier, and we're going to finish with this. Sometimes just do nothing.
Yes. Because, guys, at the end of every episode, I say go create something. But you know what, guys?
Go do nothing.
Go do nothing and be creative after. It'll flow right after. Just go do nothing.
Go do nothing. See
you
guys.